Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news. It's Chris, and today we have an exclusive from thedirect.com covering the Hawkeye series, which will be featured on Disney Plus, and Yelena Belova and her future with the MCU. Previously, it had been thought that she would in fact be taking on the mantle of Black Widow in the place of Scarlett Johansson. However, now it seems that maybe they have different plans for Yelena Belova moving forward, including a prominent role as Ronin. So we'll break down all that news in just a moment, but first, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of the major movie and television news that we cover here on the channel daily. Also, we've created a Discord, so be sure to join. The link is in the description down below, and get in on the conversation with the rest of the fans in the community. So this news revolves around the Hawkeye series, which will be coming to Disney Plus. But it also has to do with Yelena Belova and her role coming from Black Widow. Previously, it has been actually stated that Yelena Belova's character will be propelled forward into the MCU by the Black Widow movie. Now, a lot of people just assumed that that meant she would be replacing our Black Widow and taking on the mantle herself. But if you really think about it, that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense, because Natasha's Black Widow wouldn't die until many years later in the future during the events of Avengers Endgame. And the events of Black Widow happened before Avengers Infinity War, so there's a 5-6 year gap between the time she dies and the time Yelena Belova is involved with Natasha in the Black Widow movie. So what other roles could she fit into for the MCU, and what is her future? What's her involvement with Hawkeye, and what surprises does Yelena Belova have for the future of her involvement in the MCU? Well, for starters, out of everybody in the MCU, Hawkeye might be the one person that actually knows Yelena Belova, because nobody else really knew that much about Natasha's life other than Hawkeye, and we don't even know how much he knew. However, it's very possible that he could make an appearance in the Black Widow movie, or even that they knew each other from off-screen times and things that have happened. And it would make sense that she would seek out Hawkeye, looking for help, looking for advice, especially after what has happened to Natasha. Now, like I mentioned already, it was previously assumed that she would be taking on the mantle of Black Widow and there would be a future for the character Black Widow in the MCU. However, now it is being reported again by thedirect.com that she will in fact don the Ronin outfit, and she will actually take on that persona and play as a Ronin character in the MCU instead of a Black Widow character. Now, she definitely has the skill set to play Ronin, and from everything we've heard about the Disney Plus series, it sounds like Hawkeye will be retiring and kind of calling it quits. So there won't be a need for him to take on the persona of Ronin anymore, and he's handing the responsibilities of Hawkeye down to Kate Bishop. So it looks like we're finally seeing the end of Jeremy Renner's and Clint Barton's Hawkeye in all forms and capacities, including Ronin, and it's going to be separated out to Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova. This would be very, very cool to see play out, especially since Ronin, as cool of a character as he ended up being, didn't actually get a whole lot of screen time. We got to see a little bit about his falling out after he lost his family and how he went and destroyed all the Yakuza, and then kind of a few scenes here and there in the rest of the movies. But he didn't get a prominent Ronin timeline or period, and like I said, Yelena Belova has the skill set and the abilities to play this character, and it would be amazing to see her take on the role, take on the costume, and take on the relevance that Ronin has to play. There's actually a lot more for this character to do on the screen that we didn't get to see, and a lot of opportunity there. So that would be a really, really cool and fun way to include Yelena Belova in the future without simply making her the next Black Widow. And for obvious reasons, it makes a lot of sense that Clint would be the one to introduce her to the Marvel superhero Avengers side of the world, especially since he knew Natasha the best. So she would seek out Hawkeye, she would seek out Clint, and he would say, hey, do you want to make a difference? Do you want to be an Avenger? This is my Ronin outfit. And that doesn't necessarily have to be how it would play out. She doesn't need to become an Avenger to move forward, but she could do a lot of good in the world as Ronin, fulfilling her own missions and taking care of business the way that Clint was while he was Ronin. But certainly a very interesting leak today coming from thedirect.com. Let me know what you guys think about this news in the comments down below. Would you rather see Yelena Belova become Black Widow, or do you think the idea of her becoming Ronin and taking on that character's persona is even cooler? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. As always, thank you to everybody who watched to the very end of the video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any of the major movie and television news that we'll be covering right here on Cosmic Culture.